Welcome, welcome. We're getting kicked off this morning for our last service on the theme of delight. So it should be a delightful service. I want to thank all of you for turning off your phones, which I'm sure you have already done, and to make room on the aisles for people who didn't win the parking lottery. So we can get going here. Each week, as you know, we take this basket of black oak acorns and put them on our altar. We put them there because black oak acorns were a staple of the Nisenan who lived here on these very lands. Now, with all the climate challenges we've had recently, I've doing a lot of thinking about what happens if suddenly you don't have your land anymore? What happens if you don't have the place you go for food, if you don't know where your neighbors are? And that's, of course, what happened to our Nisenan. Their lives changed so radically, so suddenly. And so we and many people in this community and across the country now acknowledge that this land belongs to the Nisenan, although they wouldn't say it belonged to them because they didn't have that sense, but they never gave it to us. And I don't know if you know that UUCM pays them sort of rent every month for the use of their land. It's a wonderful thing. So we support them. We support their efforts for federal recognition, and we support their growing bit by bit back in their strength, emotionally, personally, and as their population grows. And with this, I'm going to place these acorns on our altar. And now, as you are willing and able to rise in body and or spirit, please join us in singing Hymn 1000, Morning Has Come.
Good morning. Welcome on this last beautiful Sunday in June. Last week, Reverend Kevin spoke so beautifully about the poignant intertwining of delight and sorrow. And as I reflect back on the month, there were many occasions during the month to experience both emotions, individually and collectively. We began by joyously welcoming him back from his renewal leave. And then there was the singing meditation service, which was an emotional experience for many of us. In addition to his memorable sermon last week, we observed Father's Day and Juneteenth with their interplay of emotions. Our delightful weather has been an unexpected bonus, but as we enjoy perfect temperatures, others in the country suffer from devastating tornadoes, unrelenting heat waves, and damaging hailstorms. Again, the inevitable intertwining of delight and sorrow that life brings. I also want us all to notice the kite that appeared at our first service this month. You know, after a while, if you're like me, it's there and you don't even see it. But it really does prompt us, as Kevin pointed out, it prompts us to loosen the string, hold life a little looser, and fly higher as a result. Today, Gail Johnson and Vaughn and I are your worship associates, offering you a tapestry of delight. Those of you who are with us regularly know that a tapestry means a service in which we hear personal reflections from members of the congregation. You can anticipate special words from Shannon Dooley Miller, Chuck Champlin, and Lori Dell, plus some readings, and of course, great music. Have you noticed that some delights seem to be pretty much universal, while others are strictly personal? That seems especially appropriate for this community, as we seek to share much while leaving lots of room for individuality. As we get to know each other, there probably are certain things that we all find delightful and others that cause us to ask, at least inwardly, why in the world would someone delight in that? But they do, and we are all the richer for it. We strive to be a community that is welcoming and inclusive. Whatever brings you here, whatever keeps you here, whatever delights you, we are so happy to have you.
The Delightful Light by Reverend Scott Taylor. This light, it dances, barely able to contain its delight, and it seems to want us to do the same. So this morning, may we let it lure us into letting go of the worries, of the stiffness that sets in after all the striving, of the myth that productivity alone gives us purpose. This garden of life we've been given is a playground. The weeding can wait. So says this delightful flame.
Was that delightful or not? Our wisdom story this morning is a poem written by a friend of Cheryl's, Stephen Colley. We decided that it was wonderful, but we needed to add some illustrations, so we found some nice images to do with it, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Notes on Sunshine by Stephen Colley. Just as I came up the rise of a hill, When all the earth in the morning was still, I saw in the sky far away, gaily dancing, a whole staff of musical notes fast advancing. Giant 16th notes with 8th notes allied, whole notes and quarter notes, and halves side by side. And silent, like bobbing balloons, everyone came floating, like a miniature sun that shines through a clear globe, appearing to sight as a bubble that's blown for a child's delight. And just like those sun globes, with dawn in the sky, balloon notes came up, drifting over the rise. But not so far behind them, a measure or so, came something that echoed their gay to and fro. As lightning is followed by thunder and storms, so musical sounds trailed these musical forms. And if all the globes shone like rainbow in flight, then the sound of their song was the sound of delight. So, engulfed in real sunshine, I stood there entranced, while the notes to their music merrily danced. I took in the music, the dancing, the sun, till finally the music and dancing were done. That is, till the whole host went bubbling along to welcome a new day with sunshine and sun. And as I continue to make my ascent, I'll keep deep within me those moments I spent to take in the joy that the earth has to give, as a tree in the earth takes in water to live. And for our one supreme purpose in life is, I guess, to hold on to those times when existence says, yes. And now we're going to have Toby help us sing the children on their way to Kids Connection.
Good morning. Each week we gather together in this place so that our lives may touch the lives of others. Whether to share our delights or to share our sorrows, this gathering helps us remember that we are not alone, that our paths are intertwined, and that we are connected by mutual concern for one another. At this time in the service, we drop stones into a bowl of water to represent the caring of this community. When the music begins, as you are willing and able, please come forward and choose a stone to symbolize what you carry with you today, if you wish, and drop it into the water to be held by this community. Those of you on Zoom should feel free to type into the chat any joys or sorrows you have in your heart that you would like to share. now place 2 stones into the bowl to represent the joys and sorrows that remain in our hearts.
Our words of meditation for this morning are from a somewhat longer work by Adrienne Murray Brown. Put your attention on suffering, which is constant and everywhere, and it is all you will see. Joy will come and laughter, but you will find it brief, possibly a distraction. Put your attention on joy, being connected and feeling whole, and you will find it everywhere. Your heart will still break, you will know grief, but you will find it a reasonable cost for the random abundance of miracles and the soft, wild rhythms of love.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change, alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we'll lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change, alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
Now, I have the pleasure of introducing our Tapestry speakers. Shannon and Chuck have been members for a long time, contributed so much through the various roles they have played. Lori is a newer addition who brings warmth and energy to whatever she undertakes. We may think we know them well, but I bet they have some surprises for us. First up is Shannon, who I happen to know just celebrated her birthday.
Happy birthday, Shannon! And to all the June babies, too. Yeah. Well, it is, of course, delightful to be up here talking to you all about what brings delight into my life. I think delightful to me is a state of mind. Walking down a path with beautiful flowers and butterflies, fluttering around, that brings that sense of pure delight for me. And for a more delightful experience, it might be jumping for joy when I'm downtown and I run into somebody who's told me some great joy in their life. So for me, I like being delighted, and being delightful are just what I seek out and feel to do. Being in that delighted state for me just makes me smile inside and out. So what really makes me delightful? It's usually when someone else is sharing some joy in their life. Or maybe I'm able to bring or share something from my life path that made someone feel joyful. I can also be delighted with myself when, let's see, I lost my place, sorry. When I've learned or discovered something new. So what's the difference between delight and joy? I think they feed off of each other. I do feel the need to seek out avenues to experience delight. So I go hiking on the river or walking along the ocean, or I love to go out and hear live music. Of course, getting together with friends and family to hear about their life experiences and adventures. And coming to UUCM is always a delightful experience for me. Taking time to have delightful experiences is a really good nurturing thing for me. So I do try and take the time to go out and be somewhere that brings on that delightful feeling. There's also that action of being delightful, and for me, it's sharing that time and space with someone that brings out that joy and happiness and that good, elated, heavenly feeling. Of course, I know that everything can't be a delightful bed of roses all the time, so I do take breaks from being in that happy, delighted state. I did do a little reading on the internet, and what kind of hit me was a definition. It said, delight is often used to express that positive emotion that is more than just satisfaction, but less than ecstasy. And I said, ecstasy. I say, go to the ecstasy. And then I looked up, how do you become a delightful person? And one article talked about knowing yourself and getting in touch with what you're really genuinely good at, whether it be showing empathy or humor, and then sharing that in creating the delightful experience with that situation or person. So in closing, I say, be delightful and experience being delighted as much as you can. Yeah.
Well, good morning. I'm Chuck Champlin, and I am delighted to be here, and I'm especially delighted to have my wife Leslie here this morning as well. So I'm the son of a writer, and a writer myself, so I just love wordplay. Being offered the chance to think about delight, I can only say, sure, I see delight. I see the light. And my father loved puns himself. One night at our family's traditional Sunday dinner, we were having a nice roast beef, a cut of meat that had to be tied around with string for roasting so that it wouldn't just fall apart. Now, we all know that a fine roast beef goes well with a bottle of Cabernet or Merlot, but Dad joked, holding up a piece of the string, well, we're breaking the rules tonight and having our fine roast beef with white twine. I was probably no more than 15 years old, when I heard Dad deliver that silly joke, but I've never forgotten it. It summarizes perfectly our family's delight with such wordplay. To me, wordplay usually involves digging into a meaning of the words or loving their ambiguity. The essence of a pun is the mildly French term double entendre, or the double intention. The phrase is actually intended to have two meanings at once. Saying, I see delight, is such a perfect double intention. I see fun in that term, and I also see deeper meaning as well. Now, from this point in my short reflection, I'm going to take a slightly scatological turn to another moment of meaningful delight that I've always remembered. In a somewhat shocking Monty Python movie called The Life of Brian from 1979, a simple man named Brian is living in the Holy Land about 2,000 years ago. He's unfortunately mistaken for the Messiah. And at the end of the movie, he's up in the air on a crucifix. It's a movie. It's a shocking moment of visual symbolism that made Monty Python really quite infamous back in 1979. What was the deep meaning of that shocking scene? What message would the Messiah himself want to convey at that moment? And Brian was asked that question. And from his high perch alongside a lot of other criminals, the symbolic figure began singing his thematic message, a la Monty Python. Always look on the bright side of life. I just love the whistling. You had to remember the whistling for sure. If life seems jolly rotten, there's something you've forgotten, and that's to laugh and smile and dance and sing. Well, that is delight for me. In the face of disaster, try your best to look on the bright side. As an optimist, I do try to do that, but remember to apologize to anyone you may have annoyed. So it's a meaningful message I've never forgotten, and I'm sorry.
Hi. Well, I never thought public speaking would be an aerobic exercise. Think of all the money I could have saved on all those gym memberships and those athletic clothes that make you look cute and thin. I gave some thought to what I wanted to look like up here, and it wasn't behind a microphone. And I wanted to really look like Brene Brown, just on a TED Talk, and just so casual, so like it was like the back of her hand. And I tried that, and I couldn't memorize, I couldn't remember. And then I tried little cards, just with bullets, and that didn't work. And then I realized she had a teleprompter. I mean, really, and it was just like, oh, wow, yeah, it was a delight. So when I first thought about delight, joy and happiness came up. And happiness for me is warm, calm, subtle, and it kind of grew. And joy asked for a little more expression in your face, in your body. But delight was an explosion. It was that happy dance that Allison so beautifully demonstrated a couple weeks ago, or the yippee and yes. And so for me, that element of surprise really distinguishes it. I thought about what delight was as a child. And for me, I think my first memory might have been when my daddy played peekaboo with me. I don't really remember, but I guess that would be maybe the first time. And I know a lot of you who are parents, I'm not, have so many ways of delight that you've experienced with your children. My another memory that I have is when my very old grandmother, who was probably 20 years younger than I am now, put me on my bicycle, my first bicycle with training wheels, and pushed me down the driveway and yelling, "Pedal, pedal." And I was terrified and delighted, kind of how I feel like now. And so my middle years, I don't remember much delight. And I think I suppressed it because my reaction seemed childish, and I was embarrassed. And but when I turned 50, so many things happened. Midlife crisis maybe, but it was wonderful. And most of my delights now are in very simple pleasures. We all have that magnificent sunset or a beautiful sunrise or two butterflies cavorting on a flower. And those always bring joy to me, the ubiquitous miracles of nature. I have a couple of other ways of sharing some personal, delightful moments. So I'm sure you've all, lost your keys or your cell phone or some other object, and you look for it and it's not there, and you look in another place and it's not there, and a third place, not there, fourth, fifth. What happens? What do you feel? Panic. You're panicked. However, when you look in a place and it's not there, otherwise you would have found it, and you look in a second place and you find it, I mean, I get delighted. I just go, yes, yes. And another personal way is I take some pride in my spatial abilities and volume. So you have leftovers, okay? And you go into that cabinet that has all these plastic containers that I swear multiply overnight when you're sleeping. And you pick one out and you put the leftovers in, and it is perfect. Not one room for another teaspoonful. Absolute delight. And so when I do my happy dance, my dog Angel laughs at me. And as you'll see up here, I'm not anthropomorphizing. She is laughing. She just loves it when I do that happy dance. So last Sunday I came to UUCM with a really, really heavy heart. I had just spent a week with a very, very dear friend of 40 years, and she was in her final months of battling ALS. And it was extremely challenging, and my heart was so full of sorrow. And of course, magically, the service that reminded me of contrast, of holding both joy and sorrow at the same time. It couldn't have been more perfect timing. And so I was leaving the service and walking down Church Street, in the beautiful moments of what we shared together over those 40 years, in another world, and something took me out of that years and years ago to the moment, and something made me look to the left. And this is what I saw. It's real. It's not Photoshop. I saw that, and I went, "Oh my God, yes, that's so, I love it." It's like, thank you, universe. and did a happy dance, did the joy. And this woman was walking down the sidewalk and looked at me with trepidation. And I said, no, it's okay, no worries. Come over here, look. And I showed her, there's another one. It's, it's real. And she said, oh my God, and she laughed uncontrollably. And she said, that's the most wonderful thing. And she was just so exuberant. And so my message is, when you have that moment of delight, share it and make somebody's day. Thank you.
Ah, delight. Thank you for bringing delight to us, Shannon and Les and Chuck and Lori, and I'm delighted that you're done so you don't have to be in agony any longer. So much delight lives here in this community. And of course, it's not constant. That's what defines delight. It pops up and surprises us and just like takes our breath away. Like, you remember the time when that life-size cutout of Kevin appeared when he was getting ready to leave on his, and how every now and then we'd see it and go, oh my gosh, all those moments of delight. And then the first Sunday in June when he was back, how that appeared and it got passed around surprisingly above our heads and then disappeared. And when we followed it with our eyes and then we turned back here, he was there in the flesh. Delight. And like sometimes we get a warm smile from someone that we didn't expect it from. This moment of delight here. And like a powerful healing session with one of our lay pastoral care members can give us this moment of delight. And like when our community came together to help Jenny repair her snow collapsed roof, it gave her delight for sure, but it gave all of us delight to see that we could really step up in that way. Amazing. And like hearing our 3 members today share their experiences of delight. Those are experiences of delight that are a byproduct of our pledges and weekly offerings. We each get to decide how much this community matters to us and to express it in part by our financial gifts. Thank you. You create this container for delight for us. And we delight in our community partners who share our values with work that makes a difference. Like this month's partner, Share the Plate partner, Care Crisis Nursery. The difference they make in the lives of families in crisis makes a world of difference to those families and to us indirectly, giving parents the support they need through these difficult times, and the children a warm, safe, nurturing home away from home for the few days they need. Most of you know that 25% of our offering today will go to Care Crisis Nursery. The rest to support the ongoing existence and work of our own community. If you want 100% of your gift to go to Care Crisis Nursery, there'll be a white envelope in the basket that you can put it in if you choose to. Now, Allison will tell you other ways that you can give if you're online or anytime.
Your generosity remains essential to our ability to sustain the work of our community. There are several ways to contribute. You may text an amount to 833-579-0483, give via our website at uugrassvalley.org, via PayPal at paypal.me/UUCM, or mail to UUCM 246 South Church Street, Grass Valley, California, 95945. Thank you.
Thank you for your generosity. We dedicate these gifts today to you as you go forth, aware and open to delight wherever you find it, as it fuels your good work in this world. Now, we've been playing around with how to say thank you to everything that it takes. There was a time when I did a little focus group about whether we were going to have a virtual sabbatical minister and how that would work and everything. And people were saying, well, it's no big deal. I mean, you guys can do it without a minister, no problem. Well, this is why you need to understand that, oh my gosh, so many people are part of this simple little offering that we give you each week. Cheryl is the heavy lifter today. I had grandkids here all week, a delightful experience, and so yay, Cheryl. Our readers, Katie had her first, but I'm sure not last, time up here in the pulpit. And I want you all to know that if you'd like to read, let us know, because some people would just rather sink through the floor, and others would be delighted. So do let us know. Michael, thank you for bringing forth your music. We have a little more coming. And Toby, what a blessing. What a blessing. In the back, I want you guys to stand up in the back, and I want you to turn around and see these people that keep this all going. Yay. And Eileen is out there in cyberspace someplace, making sure that it all comes through Zoom really well. So thank you, Eileen, for sure. Shanti, once again, marvelous and delightful. I've been watching the big, what they call Friday poppies or something. I forget what they are. Wonderful. Every time I go up to Briar Patch, it's fabulous. Our greeters, Gwen, I see you there, and I see you. I peek out there, and you are so engaged with people. It's just wonderful. And Laura is back there too. And Carl, just a bright light, just a bright light. Thank you, thank you. There's wonderful refreshments in the back, and those are coordinated by Beth and Connie, and food comes from all sorts of places, so enjoy. And the Kids Connection up and back is Aiden with quite a delightful number of children. It was so special to have Ruby come and be up front while Katie read as well. So thank you all, you too, for being part of it, because it just wouldn't be the same in an empty room. It sure wasn't during the pandemic. Coming up ahead, book group, time to start reading The Song of the Cell by, I'm not going to try and pronounce that. And believe it or not, July 9th is not that far away. How could July be not far away? But it isn't. Our website is rich, full of wonderful things you're going to want to see. All of the services are up there. You can just click and see the whole choice. Any that you missed or want to go back to again, we hope that you will make that happen. And now, if you will join us in body and or spirit, in voice or in silence, in celebrating all the beautiful March days, as Michael and Toby lead us into this music. Please rise as you're willing and able. got to hang on to each other.
Yeah, nobody wants to fall off the podium. Our closing words, "Blessed is the path," by Eric Williams. Blessed is the path on which you travel.
Blessed is the body that carries you upon it.
Blessed is your heart that has heard the call.
Blessed is your mind that discerns the way.
Blessed is the gift you will receive by going.
Truly blessed is the gift that you will become on the journey. May you go forth in peace as we carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. And we'll see you next week as we kick off our summer series on love in action. Next week, freedom, hope, courage. See you there.
Something else.
And something else.